A fight over funding in our nation's capital will likely lead to a federal government shutdown tonight. Thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 6. I'm Jessica Porter.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. Of course, there are so many questions about what this means. What happens to federal employees? How long can it last? What does it mean for us here in Colorado?
Denver 7's Colette Bordelon took those questions directly to our congressional representatives on both sides of the aisle, along with a political science expert to read through the lines of partisan politics.
More money, more problems, right?
It is soon to run out of money, basically.
The federal government knows that all too well.
They're only authorized to spend money up until midnight tonight.
The clock is ticking and a government shutdown is getting closer and closer. Should Coloradans be concerned?
Yes, I would say Colorado. Anyone should be concerned when the federal government isn't operating.
Seth Maskett is a political science professor at DU who talked us through this standoff in the Senate, which is tasked with passing a House measure in order to extend federal funding for 7 weeks.
I've been around long enough, I've seen a few of these before. And they're weird moments, and it's never obvious what's going to happen in them, who's going to get the blame for them.
Democrats are the ones that are shutting down the government. So if they're back in D.C. right now claiming to be working, this is actually just a smokescreen to be hiding from their constituents.
That's Congressman Gabe Evans speaking from Colorado.
This is unacceptable. This is not how you run a country. And it's not only going to impact services we rely on, the people who are going to be furloughed, fired, or forced to work without pay, but it also impacts our economy across the board.
And that's Congresswoman Brittany Pettersen in D.C.
How would a government shutdown impact Coloradans?
So we don't know exactly what this is going to look like. And President Trump has threatened and told agencies to prepare for mass firings.
It's critical that we keep the government open. I know this personally. I was a soldier in the U.S. Army for 12 years. I was deployed in a combat zone back in 2012 and 13 when we were building up to that looming government shutdown. And as that got closer and closer toward that shutdown, we had trouble getting parts and fuel for our aircraft while we were operating in a combat zone.
Republicans like Evans say this is as simple as maintaining the status quo, continuing funding at its current levels. But Democrats want to see an extension of expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies, saying otherwise healthcare costs will skyrocket.
They don't care about working families. They care about supporting the top 1%.
The last shutdown we saw was at the end of 2018, stretching into the next year, during President Donald Trump's first term in office, which lasted for just over a month. Maskett says it had a huge impact on Colorado.
There's actually a large presence of the federal government here in Colorado. There's a huge office for the Environmental Protection Agency just west of the city. Most of those offices shut down. During that government shutdown, all the people who worked there were sent home. The longer a shutdown goes on, the bigger an effect it can have.
The shutdown would begin 1 minute after midnight in D.C. if a deal is not reached. Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Colette's committed to covering Colorado politics from Capitol Hill to City Hall and holding our elected leaders accountable. If you ever have a story you'd like for her to check out, scan that QR code on your screen. You can connect with her that way or just email her, colette.bordelon@denver7.com.
Looking closer tonight, a government shutdown could force national parks to close, including Rocky Mountain National Park, during one of the busiest tourist times of the year. So during the last shutdown in 2018, you may remember the Trump administration keeping national parks accessible to the public, even as many Park Service employees were furloughed. In 2013, the Obama administration closed national parks, but some states, including Colorado, paid to keep theirs open. In a statement today, Governor Jared Polis says Colorado is evaluating its options and would be willing to be a partner if needed to use limited state funds to keep our biggest parks fully operational if possible.
And coming up at 6:30, I'm going to dig into the funding that the state has found to keep WIC afloat in Colorado should the government shut down. 101,000 women and young children in our state depend on that federal assistance program every month. And Denver 7 will stay on top of what happens tonight in Washington. They have until 10 o'clock our time to reach an agreement. We'll have the very, very latest to you up to the second on Denver 7 News at 10 and Denver7.com.